Lana Del Rey, White Feather Cocktail Deer Hunter. Let's talk about it. How y'all doing? Welcome to Let's Talk About It, Music Reviews Season 12. How y'all doing? Welcome to the show. Guys, we got a pretty good episode for you today. We got the one and only Lana Del Rey. It's honestly been a while since I talked about Lana Del Rey, since the last time I did a review was probably, when football season was going on, and, I was doing one of those, just one-off reviews. But Lana Del Rey's back. We even got a music video. The music video is just, kind of reminds me of, old, Christmas home footage, but also kind of like horror movie, also kind of like found footage levels too, which is pretty cool. Like those found footage, movies like Paranormal or something like that. That's kind of what the music video really reminds me of, like the boyfriend and the girlfriend kind of just spending time with each other or whatever. That's what it kind of reminds me of. So yeah, we got Lana Del Rey. This is a pretty long-ass title, which is kind of funny to me. Now, this song is pretty interesting because, it has, this, Disney-like sound to it with all the violin, the strings, plus the little harp, plus the little plucked strings that, kind of go on throughout this whole entire instrumental. I'd say this is a pretty decent instrumental. We finally get a little bit of some drums happening too, but this is kind of like some fairy tale, vibe that's happening. So it's definitely got that vibe to it, which honestly sounds pretty good. I like the build-up of the strings, and I do like kind of, taking that approach, but, only using this kind of dark vocal sound that's, placed throughout this whole entire track. This is also a pretty long song. I mean, it kind of feels dragged out as it goes on. I'm just going to be honest with y'all. I feel like sometimes when I listen to Lana Del Rey's music, sometimes, tracks can be 4 or 5 minutes long, and, it's kind of the same hook that only just repeats and repeats and repeats over and over and over again. And sometimes, it's good. Sometimes, I'm just like, man, I wish there was just something a little bit more to really add to the song. And that's kind of my main problem. So let's just get into it. Starting off with the verses, I like the instrumental, but the verses are where, I honestly quite enjoy them. I like the flow. There's some lyrics here that are just kind of funny to listen to. I kind of laughed out loud, hearing some of this, crack, sizzle, pop, just, randomly being placed on this song. It's kind of hilarious to me. I'm just going to be honest with y'all. But I really like the verses. I like the dark tone that the vocals have. And I do like this kind of weird effect that kind of reminds me of older Billie Eilish songs or something like that, It definitely reminds me of that. I like the vocal style. I like the different flow switches that Lana Del Rey is doing with these type of vocals. So I like the first couple of verses. I like the stacked vocals that happen in the background. Then combine that with the buildup of those strings, that nice violin, that kind of dark, Disney vibe that's strangely on the verses but not on the hook, which we will get to the hook in just a second. But I do like the verses. I do like how they sound, and I will say, I think the vocal effect is actually pretty good. So, from the last song I checked out where I didn't really enjoy the verses that much, this is actually holy shit, okay, the verses have a little bit of something to them. There's all these different vocal switch-ups. There's all these different flow switch-ups that are just adding to the fucking vibe. So I'd say it's overall pretty fucking good. So the instrumental and the verses are definitely, one of the more higher tier parts of this song. Nothing to really complain about. I think they actually do the job well. And for being such a long song, you need that. You need that. You need the verses to have, switch-ups, to have this, cool-ass vocals to make you keep wanting to come back to the song. Now, this is where I start to not enjoy this track because the hook, Lana Del Rey tries to do this, Mary Poppins, high-pitched singing voice. And I'm just going to be honest with y'all, it just does not sound good at all. I'm not really having a good time listening to this hook. I also think the hook drags on a little too much. Vocal runways, when you stretch your vocals out, that could be really good if you're really good at doing it. But when you're doing it in, this annoying high-pitched voice, the vocal runoffs are not really sounding good. Holding your notes out is only just dragging along this bad-sounding hook even fucking longer. And I really tried to give it a chance, but I just cannot get down with this hook at all. we have such a drastic switch up where Lana Del Rey is like, singing in these like weird like Mary Poppins high pitched vocals, and it's just like, all right, was that really necessary for the hook? Was that really needed? I feel like we could have sang in a normal fucking voice. It's like when I listened to like Justin Bieber in like 2024. I was like, wow, all right, we're doing R&B production, we're doing all this stuff, and then you hear this man sing, and it is just the most mind-blowingly terrible shit because man puts an alien voice, puts a high-pitched voice effect over his voice, and he sounds fucking terrible for the whole entire album, by the way. This is just one song, but it's the same fucking shit. When Doja Cat also put an annoying voice over her fucking filter, put an annoying voice filter over her vocals. It did not sound good. It did not make the track sound any better to listen to. It didn't elevate the experience. It made the experience shitty to listen to. So overall, when we talk about Lana Del Rey, White Feather, Hawktail, Deer Hunter, overall, I really do enjoy the instrumental. I like the instrumental. I like the violins. I like the strings. I like the whole Disney vibe. Overall, it's pretty good in my opinion. Nothing too bad here. The verses, too, are really cool. I like the darker vocal effects. I like all the different flow switches that happen. And then we have a hook that, honestly, I did not quite like. I felt like it could have been a lot better in my opinion, but, it's alright. It just doesn't sound good. I don't like the Mary Poppins high-pitched voice effect. Just going to be honest with y'all. So overall, I will easily give this song, I'll give it a 5 out of 10. 5 out of 10, guys. What y'all think about it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? I don't know. Let me know. If you're on YouTube, Spotify, Pandora, wherever you get your podcast at, make sure you follow, turn on notifications, guys. We're dropping new content every single day. And thank you so much for listening to this podcast episode. It means a lot to me, guys, and I'll see you later. You have a good one. Yeah, guys.